Hello and welcome to PHP Alive and Kicking, brought to you by PHP Architect and made better by our partners at PHP Score, but more about them later. This podcast explores the new and exciting developments within PHP and what it's like to earn a living in the PHP world today. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Page, better known as Mike Page Dev, and my co-host is a long-time contributor to our magazine and now team member, Chris Miller. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Today's episode is a pre-recorded episode, but you can always join us in our Discord channel. Me and Chris will be hanging out there. In fact, we hang out there all week. There's great people in there, package maintainers, internal PHP internal people. Come on, join us, ask questions. We're all there to help each other in the Discord. That is discord.phparch.com. We are on YouTube as well. Head over there, subscribe to the channel, and like any of the videos. Great, would be great. That's youtube.com/phparch. We have, for our lovely listeners, a discount for our magazine. There it is. Alive 3 will give you 3 months free off an annual subscription to the digital. I remember the digital this time, the digital edition. We also run a conference, PHP Tech. Tickets are now open for next year's Tech. It would be lovely to see some of you people over there. That would be brilliant. And don't forget to check out our swag over at store.phparch.com. You can find some t-shirts and hats and bottles and the likes. Okay, I think that is all our housekeeping ticks. So why don't we bring our guest in today?
Yeah, so today we have a guy who insists on being introduced as a strange bloke that does things. I think we could also introduce him as AI lead at Laravel. We have with us Ashley Hindle. Hey, Ash.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Pretty great. Great to be here with you both.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about AI and PHP and all those lovely things.
Which is exactly why we do this podcast, to talk about PHP
Beautiful.
and cool stuff. And I'd say AI and PHP kind of go together these days. It's everywhere.
We're heading that way, hey?
So we always start our podcast with exactly the same question. How did you get into PHP?
Yeah, I got into PHP through a weird route when I was 13, 14, maybe. My actual plan was to be a really cool hacker that you would see in movies, and I'd wear all black and a hoodie, and I'd be evading the cops and doing social engineering and hacking things, to phone lines and things. And I built some open source tools with C to crack passwords from Windows machines back in the day. Even though they already existed, I built another one. And then I was like, well, I need to show people how cool I am, so I'm going to have to build a website. And so I built a HTML website that showed what a great hacker I am. I had Leet Speak on my website. I had a marquee scrolling things. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I had images, image maps with different, clicking different areas. But then to show how cool I am even more, I wanted to have like a hit counter or a guest book or something. Well, how do I do this in HTML? Where does that get saved? Like who owns that piece of data so that I can show it? And then people kept talking about PHP. And actually before that, people were talking about Perl and PHP and CGI bin, and I had no idea what was going on. And then I accidentally got PHP to work. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then yeah, I wanted to store it into the database, so then I had to learn about MySQL and things like that, to store the hits. Like, oh wow, I'm a real developer. I had include header.inc.php, include footer.inc.php. I could stop repeating all of that HTML, and then from there, I was like, oh well, I quite like writing PHP and websites, so maybe I'll leave the hacker business behind me and I'll just, make websites and cool things. And so I've been doing that now for over 20 years. And yeah, it's great.
So effectively, you got into PHP because hacking wasn't quite as cool as you thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and harder than I thought. The people in movies make it look so easy.
Have you ever actually tried to do the stuff that's in movies, though? I mean, all it is stand there, mash the keyboard, and then say, I'm in. That is
Yeah.
the entirety of hacking in movies.
Yeah, it didn't work when I tried it. It turns out you have to methodically test lots
Yes.
of different things and lots of different strings, and it's quite boring just looking, for different attack vectors to take advantage of. And so, yeah, PHP and HTML, JavaScript, that feedback loop is much faster and much easier. So, yeah, I'll stick with that for now.
So I guess that sort of leads us down the path to where you are now. You're actually part of the Laravel core team and AI team lead. What does that entail?
It's weird, eh? It's great. Basically, it's just Nuno and I are working on all things AI at Laravel, just so to help people kind of pair program with AI and to build things with AI that will help people in the ecosystem. So our job really is just to make working with AI, with Laravel, really, really easy for people. Like really natural, really straightforward, and take away all of the complexity so that, people can just think of AI as a tool rather than learning tons and tons of complex things, unless you're interested in that. So yeah, we've got a lot to do. So mainly my role, Nuno's role, is code a lot and then speak to a lot of people to see what problems they're having and then code a lot. We're just on repeat doing that, basically.
Sounds like agency life, to be fair.
Yes, yeah.
So talk to customers, find out what they've broken, and then fix it. Yeah, sounds about right. So I know one of the tools that came out is Laravel Boost, and I have installed it. That is as far as I've got so far, but I have installed it.
I've gone a little bit further. I have installed it, and I have started using it to try and help sort out the lack of my ability to write tests.
It is very helpful there, to be fair. Well, AI in general is very helpful there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us the story behind Boost and what Boost is?
Yeah, Boost is an interesting one for me personally because Boost is a package that you install into your Laravel projects that makes your AI agents output higher quality code. So coding with an AI agent, with an AI pair programmer, is just smoother and better with Boost. It makes less mistakes, it hallucinates less, it is faster, it writes tests, it proactively formats code. It's just better. That's the goal. But it's got three core parts. So it comes with an MCP server, which has various tools that your AI agent can use, like running arbitrary PHP code to debug things, or querying the database, checking the database schema for indexes and things like that. And it comes with a bunch of guidelines, like rules to tell the AI how to behave. And it also comes with a documentation API that we built where we ingested lots of documentation from the ecosystem. We chunked it and vectorized it, created embeddings for it, put it behind TypeSense, and then made that available to your AI agent as well. So it gets the exact version-specific documentation that your project needs. And that's like so helpful, so valuable. And I joined Laravel July 3rd, I want to say, something like that. And I did some work on our MCP package first, and then I started building Boost a couple of weeks into my role. And then we announced it at the keynote in Laracon US, and then we launched it sometime in August. But before I joined Laravel, I built something similar, but only the MCP part with tools called Croft. And I released Croft at Laravel Live UK earlier this year. I don't remember which month that was, but we released Croft, and that was great. It had similar tools to Boost, but it didn't have all of the AI guidelines and all of the documentation and things like that. And then when I joined Laravel, everything felt there was more that was possible, I guess, because like I couldn't personally pay for a server to ingest all of the documentation every day, then chunk and embed it, and then put it behind TypeSense and make sure it's always available. And it's, unlike a CDN, so it's faster depending on where in the world you are. But Laravel can pay for that because they want everybody to be more productive, right? And so all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can do more. I'm not like hamstrung by just being this weird bloke who has, an hour an evening to do things. And so when I realized that, that's when we wrote all of these guidelines for all of these different packages. And that's when we thought, let's just ingest all of the documentation and make that really easily available to the AI agent. And so that's where we are now. So I started with kind of my own version of a subset of Boost, but then it's became a lot better because of what's available at Laravel and the space that I have and the obsession that Taylor has to increase productivity. So it's in a really good place right now.
It's almost like Taylor keeps saying we must ship.
It's crazy, right? Yeah. And then backing that with tools and budget and people, to actually help, which, is really cool to see.
Yeah. So what sort of documentation have you got already that you're already referencing? What sort of packages?
I think we have 11 packages in the Laravel ecosystem that's chunked to over 20,000 chunks of information in that documentation.
Wow.
And so we have things like Laravel 10, 11, and 12, all of that documentation. We have Pest 3 and 4. We have Filament 2, 3, and 4, I think. We have Tailwind 3 and 4. We have Livewire, Flux, and some other things I forget. So we ingested all of their documentation and separate it by major version at the minute. So if you use Livewire 3, you only get Livewire 3 documentation. But I really want to get to major, minor at the very least, and ideally patch. But I've looked into that, and it's so much work. It's so complex that might be in a year or two.
So I have a question then. Let's say that I don't, but let's say that I have a package out there that's got a full documentation system, and I know that a lot of people are using it. How would I then offer the same facility through Boost? So I don't know. Let's say the Laravel permissions package from Spatey.
So right now you can't offer it through Boost. Like we wrote ingested for specific documentation for the Boost backend, so we would have to write that. But it is on our list. Like we have been speaking to package developers of how could we make it so they can just add that docs really, really easily, so that just works. You just install the Sparsy permissions package, you get their guidelines for how to use that package, and you get the documentation of exactly how to use that package for the exact version that you have. And we have some ideas there, but it's really tricky. We've not solved it yet, but we hope to solve that because I think that's really, really powerful when just every library that you use your AI agent can get the exact documentation that it needs.
Yeah.
See, my brain goes into the idea of perhaps doing local tokenization. So take the documentation locally, allow Boost to set up a tokenization server to do it locally for a specific user. So just point it at the URLs and go. That sounds really easy, but I've built a tokenizer. It's not.
Yeah, that's tricky.
I mean, I still find it fascinating, the idea that you can turn the entire Laravel docs into a bunch of numbers that have meaning. And
It is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I find it really bizarre also that you just get an array. And in my case, I'm using an OpenAI embeddings model with 1,536 vectors. So a word becomes 1,500 numbers in an array. That's how make that make sense.
But then it's not even just a word, because I assume you're using then the next layer up as well. So you're using context-aware vector. So
Yeah.
you have semantic meaning embedded in vectors. So you have the ability to understand to a certain extent the context in which something is used. So
Yeah.
you know that it is just an example, or you know that here is exactly how to do this. And
Yeah,
it's incredible to think that can come from a bunch of numbers. And
it's really cool. And also what I found really interesting, as incredible as embeddings and retrieval augmented generation is, it's not enough to have a valuable documentation search API. So we also combine a regular full text search with typo tolerance and stemming and things like that, and vector search, then union the results and re-rank them so that people get the best results, because neither one is good enough itself, essentially. And so we have to squish them together to get the best results. And we're still fine-tuning that. Like, we've not nailed it, but we're getting somewhere good.
I mean, that on its own is incredible, that you're combining the two main routes, which it not just gives you a third option, but it also gives you the most powerful results possible. Because if you've got context awareness through the vectors, and you've got typo tolerance, and you've got, to a certain extent, because of that understanding tolerance, I'm looking for something that is a bit like. And if you look at Claude, OpenAI, anything like that, you can start being a little more vague these days of what you actually want, because it's learned the context awareness of what people are asking about.
Yeah, that's because I'm a very lazy human. One of the things I like about Boost, when you have it in your project, you can be a bit more lazy with your prompts. So before Boost, I had to say, I'm using Laravel 12.1 and Tailwind version 3, and I've done this specific configuration change that I need you to be aware of. But now, because Boost kind of injects some of that information, and we've got tools to help it, I can just say, do this thing, figure everything out. So that context has been really handy to just help me be much lazier, which I've welcomed.
See, this is the most amazing thing in development, isn't it? That most amazing tools come out because developers are lazy and don't want to do things.
Hell yeah. It's great.
Why spend 10 minutes coding something when you can spend 4 hours failing to automate it?
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to hear from our partner, PHP Score. We'll be right back.
Thank you to our partners at phpscore.com. Every app builds up technical debt over time. It's the price we pay for shipping new features and moving fast. When we build up too much of it, though, it can start to impact how we work. Team velocity suffers, bugs become more frequent and take longer to fix, and everyone starts to get a little frustrated. The key to managing debt is to measure it. A credit score can help you understand how well you're managing your financial debt, and now there's a credit score for your technical debt. Go to phpscore.com to get a free technical debt score and monitoring for all of your PHP applications today.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you,
PHP
Peter.
Score. So when I found it very easy to install Boost, like most Laravel things, it's just so incredibly easy to get things up and running. One of the things I noticed when, if I remember rightly, is it Boost install.
Yeah.
It auto discovers what packages you have within your app and the versions, which was really cool. If I was then to upgrade one of those packages, so for example, the package I put it into was actually a Filament 3. I haven't upgraded to Filament 4 just because I'm waiting for some plugins to update. Once that's done, I'll be updating to Filament 4. Is there anything I need to run to get Boost to recognize that I've updated, or does it auto recognize that I've updated packages within the application?
That's a good question. Partially. So Boost won't remove any guidelines, but it will recognize that you've upgraded to version 4 of Filament.
Okay.
So what will happen so Nuno actually just released Boost Update. So if you can add artisan Boost Update to your post update command in composer.json. And just every time you do your package management, your guidelines will get automatically updated to what they need to be based on the packages and versions you have now.
That's cool.
So in theory, actually thinking fully through it, I think that would work magically. I think you just run artisan Boost Update or artisan Boost Install, and it will just recreate the guidelines with your now current packages and versions.
That's pretty cool. And the other question I've just been thinking, it is more to do with your development environment. So there's lots of people use all sorts of different environments to run their applications. Is there any plans to add documentation for any of that? For example, in my application, I'm using Lando. If you don't know what Lando is, it's like a package for Docker. Just makes idiots like me be able to use Docker because I don't understand all of Docker. And it just makes it really easy to use Docker. But one of the things was I've had to tell the AI I'm currently trying out Claude in it to say, instead of running PHP artisan, it needs to run Lando artisan, and then whatever the command is. Is there any sort of scope for or ways of adding the documentations for some of those sort of environments that people use?
Yeah, there are a few ways to do that. So on the roadmap is to support Sail out of the box. So it will do Sail artisan rather than PHP artisan. So we'll be solving that soon. But obviously we can't support everything that exists in the world. And so I think we'll probably only do that. But you can override Boost's built-in guidelines, and you can add your own Boost guidelines into the Boost guidelines within your project. So if your project has a .ai/guidelines directory with Blade files in, we'll ingest those during Boost install or Boost update. And so if you just keep some rules in there saying always do Lando artisan rather than PHP artisan, this is absolutely critical, you must do this or the whole world will perish, then it should listen to that, and that will just get included always into your guidelines, and it's just managed through Boost then. So that's probably the best way, but you can also override our guidelines. So if Boost says in it, which I think it does for tests, run PHP artisan test to run the tests, you can put a file in .ai guidelines tests, and when we run Boost install or Boost update, we'll use your guidelines rather than Boost's built-in guidelines. So if our guidelines are sending the AI agent off track a little bit, just replace them. Just put your own in there, and it will always be correct. So they're probably the best ways right now. And then the last way, this is way too many ways, maybe we should simplify it, but Nuno just released the ability for third-party packages to provide guidelines that can go into the guidelines. So Lando, in theory, could have I don't know how it's built, but they could provide guidelines to Boost. So if you have that installed, they'll just automatically get included as well. So there is a possibility there of it just installing a composer package, and that gives you all of the guidelines you need to make everything work well.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I guess you've also got the next layer on top of that of the guidelines that your own AI system can use, like Claude.md for Claude Code and all of the rest of it. And you could go for a lot of MD files that end up telling it how to do things.
Yeah. That's why I personally put things just in .ai guidelines, and then everything is just managed by Boost, so I don't have to think about it. And I'm like, so the one that usually I have only 2 of my own additional rules actually. So in some projects I use the action pattern. So I'll have a .ai/guidelines/actions.blade.php with my guidelines to use the action pattern. And then I'll have a TDD guidelines as well. Some projects I prefer to do TDD, but not all of them. And so I'll put that in there. And then when I run Boost install, those guidelines get auto magically added.
And have you got any documentation on Boost out there yet for people to sort of see in these sort of example, maybe some code examples of how to do some of this?
Yeah, but we have the README which documents how to do all of these things, and we do want to move that to laravel.com/docs, like get it where every other piece of documentation is. But that's just on the list. And, we've not got to that yet.
Okay. Cool. If you got any more specific questions, I can't talk. Any specific questions about Boost, Chris, before we move on?
One thing that intrigues me is you've got the updates and that you can tell it to do the doc updates, but you also said it doesn't delete any guidelines. So say we've got Tailwind 3 guidelines in there, we do update to Tailwind 4, and now we've got Tailwind 3 and Tailwind 4 there. How does it know which one to do?
I think that's why when I was thinking through it, I think actually it ends up in the ideal place. I think I was wrong. We override, when we add the guidelines to the correct files, we put them in XML tags that say Boost guidelines. And then we actually replace that entire block with the newly composed guidelines. So actually, we replace the guidelines. So actually, you would only end up with Tailwind v4 guidelines.
So it doesn't delete them, it just does a full-on replace. Yeah.
So I confused myself as that you will end up in the correct place, but we don't delete them. We just override them. But yeah, that's weird. But you'll just end up in the right place. And also because we do that, just replacing of our own guidelines, if you do have a Claude.md file and you have your rules above it and your rules below it, will never get in the way of any of your existing rules. So if you do want to manage it just in Claude.md yourself, that's fine. We try to be mindful of that.
Okay.
It really does sound like it's making it so much easier for people to develop with AI, and it kind of gets AI out of the way, which is quite useful because AI is really, really stupid if you don't give it good instruction. And the fact that Boost is helping to strengthen that knowledge, it's kind of unique, and it does make me question, okay, Boost is a starting point of making this good. What's the next step? Where do we go next?
Yeah, it's an interesting world because there's more that Boost can do. Like, there's more on our roadmap of things that I would like to have time to work on. And then the AI agents themselves are constantly evolving. Claude Code 2 was released 2 days ago. I don't very recently. And then Claude Sonnet 4.5 was released, and that's now even better than Claude Sonnet 4. So I think everything just slightly getting better every week or fortnight is an interesting place to be. And yeah, I'm excited. Just everything getting better, and not having to explain myself so much, or AI just understanding a bit better or making less mistakes. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
So that kind of leads on quite nicely to I would say elephant in the room, but being it's a PHP podcast, that feels a bit weird. But a subject that comes up, and I've been asked the question a few times. I know people have asked it in Discord. Is about is AI taking over our jobs?
Yeah,
That's an interesting discussion. I'd like to dig in with you because you obviously have a lot of experience with AI. You're very pro AI, which I think both me and Chris are. My sort of no, I don't know why Chris is shaking his head. He's always using AI. No. So my kind of thought on it at the moment is that AI is a tool that we can use, but you need to have some sort of programming knowledge to be able to use it, because it will spit out things it just doesn't work or isn't safe, or for
Just
example,
plain doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, there was an instant I used. I was trying to remember the example, but I asked AI to help me. I needed to push something out really, really quick, and it's just like, can you just write the algorithm to do this for me? This is what I need to come out, and it did it. And I then looked at it and went, hang on, that function doesn't even exist. And that wasn't even needing to know any of the context of the project it was going into. It was more of it just plainly made up a PHP function that doesn't exist. And I don't think it ever did exist. So I don't think it's like referenced old Stack Overflow answers or anything like that. It's got it from another language and got confused with the language. So in my view is, yes, it's great. It's good for pointing us in the right directions. But the way you're now talking about Boost, it sounds like it's getting so much better understanding the context that we're asking these questions in for. Maybe, for example, tests, where I've been using it a lot in the last few days, is writing some tests. I just say, can you write a test for this class, and it will write the test, because it's understanding the context and the versions that are being used. It seems like it's that margin error is slowly disappearing. So it is Boost taking our jobs.
No, an AI isn't taking our jobs, but you could allow it to take over your job. They're slightly different things. I would say there's a very good talk from Dave Hicking that he gave at Laracon US about AI taking your jobs. And the too long didn't watch version is no, humans are better than AI. Our experience, our taste, our decision making is better than AI and will be for a very, very long time. So it's not taking our jobs. AI and Boost aren't taking your jobs. What other people say, that I haven't self-reflected on how much I agree with it, but maybe we can talk about it, is AI isn't taking your job, but a similarly knowledgeable developer who uses AI better than you is going to take your job. And so everybody needs to be using AI, needs to be skilled with AI, just as you are with databases or test-driven development or calling APIs. It is a skill that you do need to develop. So I'm pretty sure I believe in that. But what do you reckon? Like, is that true?
It's an interesting thought, and I probably agree with you. It's like anyone, like a Laravel. You're learning how to use Laravel. The more skilled or knowledgeable person is going to be better than you, and I think that also kind of goes in hand in hand. What we're trying to promote in our community is helping the people at the bottom, pulling them up. Teaching them. That's however you do that at talks or whatever, just passing on your knowledge. The the interesting thought I've had, and I've talked to a few people about this, I don't know if I've actually talked to Chris about it, so he can wade in as well, is I almost feel there's going to be a influx of work out there to fix vibe code apps, because people are with no coding knowledge is now thinking, oh, Claude Code, I've heard about this, let's just go type in, I want you to create an app for me that does this, this, and this, pushes it out there, not checking it, and they're going to go, it doesn't work, and they're going to have to then pay a professional developer to work out why it doesn't work, because that's what I'm kind of predicting in our not just in PHP, but in the world of computer development, in whatever language you write in, whatever you work, is it desktop, mobile, or web, or you're writing programs for a fridge, whatever it is, anyone that's trying to vibe code without the enough knowledge to know when things aren't quite right, that's going to bring more work into the industry, and that's what I kind of get the feel for is going to happen soon, from what I've seen on social media and things like that.
Actually already started happening to a certain extent. There are people calling themselves vibe code fixers on LinkedIn, and then charging more if the code is written by AI, because they have more to do to work out what they actually wanted. I mean, I have seen sites that have been vibe coded that are beyond ridiculous. There's flaws like you can just go to /dashboard. You don't need to log in, you can just go there. And flaws like, that the passwords are freely available to you for every user, and things like this. And you can see where what they've done is they've created a prototype, which is brilliant. And I love being able to say to Cursor, Claude, whatever, make me a prototype website that looks like this and does this. I don't care if the functionality is actually there. I care about the flow and the click-through, and does this feel like a website I want? And then the very next thing I do is probably throw that away and work to actually do what I want. Now I know what I'm looking at. And AI code is improving, but is AI code improving, or is people using AI improving? Maybe it's both.
I think it's both. I've found there's a subset of people as well that value code quality less now because AI can understand your badly written code and won't murder you in your sleep like a colleague would if you had terrible code that they couldn't understand.
Yeah, I
find
that.
that
I'm used to that.
You asked for the review, Mike.
I know.
See, I think that's an interesting world.
I mean, I am a stickler for clean code, and I have literally given talks worldwide on coding using clean code standards. There's a point at which clean code helps AI, but there's also a point at which clean code gets in the way of AI, because it's like, well, I don't understand the depth of the abstraction here. And I'm kind of left thinking, well, maybe what is happening is, rather than getting rid of coding standards, we need a coding standard that is not quite so abstracted anymore. I mean, if you look at some of the standards taught by the big names in that world, the level of abstraction would mean you'd need 6 classes before you can have a model. And why? Let's just have a model, shall we? And controllers can be extended from abstract controllers, which can be extended from the base controller, which can be extended from something else. And all that ends up happening is a really complicated setup. Whereas I prefer code that is clean, isn't the word I actually use. I use readable. And the core of it being that the code you write isn't for you now. It's for the next person to look at it. And that might be you tomorrow.
That's usually me in an hour, and I've already forgot everything. I use the word boring. I like my infrastructure and my code to be boring. I don't want it to be fancy just for fancy's sake.
Mhm.
I want it to be really easy to read, but not like sophisticated or anything or advanced. Just crazy boring, but really easy to reason, right, and follow.
One of the sales maintainers, the sales framework in JavaScript, actually released the boring stack. The idea being that
Nice.
code should be boring, because if it is boring, you can understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same with infrastructure as well. Like I'm not very good with serverless or Docker or anything or Kubernetes. Like I've not got into them, and maybe that is boring for.
Good with Kubernetes?
I think I've met some people who are incredible, and I think it's boring to them because they're so knowledgeable now. Like Docker and Kubernetes, is boring to them. But boring for me is PHP, FPM, and Nginx on an Ubuntu server, and I know that will work forever and won't cause me any issues. There'll never be a problem. It's just rock solid and boring, and it's great.
So I'm Caddy in PHP FPM, so
okay.
I'm slightly less boring.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is one of the things that I find is brilliant in this community, that people can have opinions on code. I mean, you could have completely opposing opinions. You could argue about it on Twitter, but you're still friends at the end of the day. I mean, look at what happened when Nuno dared to suggest that you don't do a down in a migration. That conversation is still going on 3 months later. And
yeah, I think most people are still friends. I think some people take it too far, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. And I mean, I totally disagreed with Nuno on that one, because I like downs in my migrations because I want to be able to roll back. Whereas Nuno says you should never be in the position that you need to roll back. If you need to change something, do a new migration. I get it. It's a choice.
Yeah, and it's different risk profiles. Depends on your project, who your customers are, what business you're in. You probably can't do that in a bank, but if you have built a social site like a Twitter clone, it's probably fine. Just roll forward, and take a 5-minute, 10-minute, downtime or something.
And it's not like he's written a testing framework, so has really good opinions on that.
No, exactly. Nuno's too good at things.
Yes.
We shouldn't. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's unfair.
I'm not in the slightest bit mocking him. The guy's a genius.
Yeah. So in sort of pulling us back to the AI, in sort of I think we're all in agreement that AI is a tool, but you need to know how to use it. And if you need the knowledge to be able to spot when things aren't quite right with AI, because it's not perfect. It's not going to. And this is, I kind of explained this to someone. In fact, it was a bizarre conversation I had with someone. There was an app that I was using, I posted a question to the developers about the app, and they then contacted me, and we ended up in a Zoom call, and now I'm part of the testing team. But when they realised I was a developer, and they asked me the same thing, what do you think to AI? And my thoughts are, most of these AI engines are just scraping as much information from the internet as they can possibly find. And unfortunately, a lot of that is out-of-date information, and that's where the errors creep in. Or misunderstanding the languages where these fictitious functions for PHP keep appearing in AI code. But so if you haven't got the knowledge and the understanding to be able to deal with those, that is just going to build up in your code. You're going to get lots of errors, and then you're going to come to people like us to come and fix it. So why not just come to us and get it done in the first place? That's kind of where my message is. I mean, AI for coding is a tool for developers and people with the knowledge.
See, I go one step further. I even don't have a problem with non-developers using AI to develop code. If it's a plain, simple, static site, sure, go for it. Put it up. The worst that's going to happen is you have to fix a picture that's out of line or something. But when it comes to developing applications, build it with AI, vibe code away, but don't put it on production until somebody who is a developer goes, yeah, that's production ready. And that's a whole field that I've looked at before now of, okay, we have the people that go and fix vibe code that's already gone out, but what about the guy that's going to review the code in the first place and tell you how much it's going to cost to add the extra bits? And if you've got a semi-decent vibe coded application, then you're in a good starting place, and you've probably skipped 6 months of development there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the review process in AI coding land is very interesting, one that not enough people have explored yet, because people will end up with fairly bad vibe coded apps, and some people will end up with great ones, because you can, if you have a relative knowledge, you can end up with great ones. Like, they don't have to be bad just because they're built by AI.
No, not at all.
No.
But the review process, is going to be critical, because AI can write code faster than us. So now there is more code, and it's of a much more variable quality than it is. Like, you get less from human developers, but the quality is consistently high. Now you've got a lot more from a mix of human alone, AI alone, and human and AI co-coding with a much wider breadth of quality that still needs to be reviewed. So I find that super interesting. Where will we end up next year? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think yes, you can build complete applications with AI, but there's got to be that review. You've got to have someone with quite a bit of knowledge to review, to make sure there's no issues, and test before you put it out there. Really test it. So it's kind of boils down to it's a really good tool to get things started, to point you in the right direction. I've used it for, I know I roughly know how to write some function that I need to happen, so I can kind of explain that to the AI to sort of flesh it out and get it written a lot faster, because I could probably type a description of the function quicker than I can actually type the function, and then AI spits it out 2 seconds later. So it is a good tool to get going, get some stuff up and running faster. Does that then lead to the expectation of clients now expecting code from us faster? And or cheaper? Yeah, faster and cheaper,
or both.
or both. Yeah, exactly. Is this a new concept? I mean, I can understand if we can churn out the code faster and we're not spending as many hours on the code, then yes, they're going to want it cheaper as well, which is that going to be damaging and difficult for us to navigate?
See, this is a whole other discussion around pricing structures. There's 2 ways you can charge for something. You can charge for the result, or you can charge for the hours spent doing it. Now, if I'm a developer who can type at 200 words a minute and I can write faster than you, does that mean I should be paid less for the same thing as you?
No, I wouldn't. It is an interesting, and you could spend hours talking about this subject now. And this wasn't a subject we had in mind to talk about today. It's kind
and this is why this podcast is fun.
This naturally happened. So it is a really interesting concept, and there's different ways of approaching it, like you say. But how did you come to price? Let's say it's a website with some underlying functionalities and business logic that needs to be in there, so it can't be just a static website. It is a dynamic website. How do you come to say, right, for that project, this is how much it is? Because the way I would do it would kind of work down the road of like just trying to work out how many hours I'm going to put into it to try and work out what the final product would be. But also, for if I was to do a freelance piece of work like that, I might put a because I don't type as fast as Chris. Chris seems to be able to type at the speed of light, and Chris is a much more seasoned developer than I am. I still kind of class myself as fairly sort of junior plus. Is there a junior plus? So I'm
Yes.
in relative to you two, I'm new to this world. I've only been developing full time for 5 years now, so I'm a baby compared to you guys. You've been in the world for a lot longer than me, so I would expect you guys to charge more for your hour than I would. So we could end up coming to roughly the same price, but because I've lowered my hourly rate because I know it will take me longer to do something. Does that make sense?
I get what you're getting at, and you're looking at the pricing per hour, you're calculating it, and then you get into an end value. Let's say that you say your rate is £10 an hour and it's going to take you 100 hours, that's 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
I could say £50 an hour and take 20 hours and it's still 10 grand kind of thing.
Mm.
Or I could go, what is the return to the company on the work that is done? So if I go and I do a website for the local corner shop, the return is not going to be in the millions.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I go to Laravel and I say I've been contracted to rewrite the website, well, then that return is going to be much bigger. The work may be very similar, but the return for the customer is higher. So I'll always price on return value.
That's an interesting approach. I hadn't thought of that one.
So taking that one step further, let's say I'm going to design a logo. I could have a company called, I don't know, JD, and the logo is going to be J and D. I mean, it's not going to take me long to design this thing, probably. But if it's JD, the little corner shop that sells alcohol, it's probably going to be worth 100. If it's JD Sports, then it's going to be worth a heck of a lot more. And it's the value to the company. Do you think that McDonald's paid 50 quid for their M?
No, probably not. I don't know if they did. I don't know if they just got one of their kids to draw the M with a crayon, to be honest. I don't know how it came about. But
it's been through revisions, the McDonald's logo has, and they've paid millions each time it's been revised. I'm still trying to find the revision, but there has apparently been changes to this logo. And for me, it's about the value to the person that I'm proposing to. So that's a whole other discussion on pricing, but that's the way I do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It makes me feel glad that I am employed full time to right. I'm not self-employed and having to worry about all those sorts of things.
It's much simpler to be full-time employed. There's quite a few famous books on value versus time pricing and how to pitch yourself to companies and how to explain it and stop them from going down the per hour path, which probably those books and those trainings are going to be even more relevant now, because people will now not necessarily go down the per hour path. Well, it's only going to take you 10 hours and there's rebuttals for that. They'll say, well, I could, I'll build it with AI. That's going to be an interesting argument, which for some projects you can just build it with AI. And then, obviously some projects you shouldn't, and it will cost you double now to fix the AI's job and then, do it better. But I think just have a full-time role and don't get into those headaches. They're a nightmare.
I mean, I don't feel like I am employed. It's one of those strange thing. We obviously, as you know, PHP Architect is an American-based company, so we're both fully remote, and we are the closest to each other. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to get over there. I mean, we've got developers all over the world now within PHP Architect, and the team's grown. With Chris joined us a couple of months ago now. How long have you been with us? Not long. It's it doesn't feel like we're employed. We're just here doing. I mean, it's probably, I don't have to deal with accounts. I don't have to deal with I do have to deal with some sort of taxes, because that's because I have a few little things on the side that I used to do that I kind of keep in the background for due to my previous life as a theatre technician. But so I do have to do a tax return every year, so I haven't got rid of that yet. But we were talking about it. We did a pre-recording with someone else last week or the week before, talking about being a freelance, and there's so many extra hats you have to wear. So although I don't feel like I'm going to the office to work, like a lot of other people do, I don't have all those other things over my head that I've got to worry about to do with being freelance. And I think some of that, to be honest, is actually down to I absolutely love what I do. I'm one of the very lucky people that has found a career. Yes, I'm later on in life when I found it. So anyone that's listening or watching or anything, don't be stressed about trying to work out what to do in your 20s. Don't worry about that. It'll come. It'll happen. I've now found exactly what I really love doing, and I don't feel like I'm working when I'm sitting here just trying to fix things. I really enjoy getting those awkward tickets come through, and I'm looking at them going, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. But then going, that burning desire to fix it and go, yes, I can fix it. I've done it. I've fixed it. It's working. That's great. And I can't thank the people that give me the opportunity enough for all that. But we're going off track again. We're
very lucky people. Hey,
yeah.
I did want to touch on that part of maybe not being late in life, but learning to code with AI as a knowledge partner / pair programmer. Because when I learned to code, and maybe now, I don't know, you had to have that burning desire to solve the issue. And you had to be willing to smash your face against your desk 100 times in a row, and then you solve it, and that's the best feeling ever. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, of course. Yeah, naturally. But now with AI debugging and troubleshooting, often I will just say to AI, this is happening. Figure it out and tell me why it broke. And then I'll go do something else. Because I've done that face smashing, and I do value it, but I've got other things to do as well. So as a new developer coming into this world, AI being a natural thing you should do, a skill that you must learn, there are going to be some people that use AI in the wrong way and delegate their thinking to the AI, and then some people that use AI the correct way of working backwards and forward with it to understand things better and progress their learning. And then maybe people in the middle. But I wonder what that ratio is, or how we can help people do it the right way and not fall into the delegating your brain trap. I worry about that future.
Yeah.
That sort of feels like the agentic AI, not agentic as in the true way of using agents in AI, but this whole concept of, well, I've got an agent that's my secretary, and I've got an agent that does me emails, and I've got an agent that books me calendar, and I've got an agent that washes the dishes, and it's that kind of future. At the moment, we don't actually have an AI that is capable of doing those things, and we're trying to coax a bigger AI into being lots of little ones. So, you take Claude, you make yourself an agent on top of Claude, and all you're doing is giving it a prompt, and it opens it up to prompt injection, which then opens it up to being abused. And look at the stories only a few months ago about car companies who were using AIs for customer service on the website, and then people getting the AI to agree to sell them a car for £1. And that shouldn't be possible. And I don't think we're quite at the point yet where we've got enough safeguards to put in place on that. And people are trying to allow AI to take jobs that cost money. but from a business manager's point of view, I can cut the bottom line by $20,000 by not employing that person. Great, but that person needs that $20,000 to be able to eat.
Yeah, they're two very difficult things. So prompt injection, currently unsolved, currently unsolvable, but I hope they do solve it because it's an incredibly dangerous attack vector. And then, what does the future look like if AI takes 20% of jobs and people still need to eat? I don't think we're going to get a universal income that everybody, just gets a set amount of money or anything like that. So, and I don't know that any of us have like an economic sociology background to have like something useful to say there. I don't, but I find it really intriguing.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly cannot see AI taking completely overtaking a developer's role in my lifetime, and potentially the lifetime of maybe some of the 20-year-olds. I think there's still going to be issues. I mean, is it Network Chuck that's got a video about hacking AI? He released a little while ago. He managed to do some weird stuff with AI. I haven't watched it myself, and I can't remember what the caption was. It's something that I forced AI to. I mean, obviously he's doing things all lightheartedly. If you've ever seen his videos, so yeah, there are things that people have to really seriously think about, and it does worry me that some of these corporate types they see dollar signs to be able to save money with AI. They'll hear people talking about, you can get Claude to build a whole application for you, and then they'll do it, and there are issues there. So it's sort of the message is to just be careful with AI. It's not perfect. You need to have people around you that know how to use AI, but also know how to troubleshoot problems, to code review. So they have to have that sort of the programming knowledge. That's the words I'm looking for. Programming knowledge.
We're sort of bordering on an interesting world at the moment, and I want to see where this one goes. We are in the position that we can have AI write the code. We are also in a position that we can have AI review the code.
Yes.
This means
I was going to mention that at one point, thinking, hang on, because it's something that has been discussed recently between a few of us about some of these packages you can now use to do almost a pre-code review before a human does the code review.
And I'm sort of kind of confused about the concept that I could go to Claude and say, build me this. Claude can push it to Git for me. Claude can then review it for me on Git before Claude tells the pipelines to put it on the website. I could literally go from prompt to website now.
You can go from linear issue to website.
Yeah.
You can go from user feedback, automatically ingested, creating stories, coding, reviewing, pushing, and testing in production without human input. Absolutely. I don't know how well it would go, but I know some people are doing that.
That sounds scary.
To actually buy a domain and do it, and just publicize it as this thing is entirely AI. All I'm going to do is prevent illegal stuff from happening. Do what you want.
It does sound like a fun experiment. Yeah. If people can upvote, like the most upvoted feature request is added by AI automatically each day, I think that'd be cool.
It'd be an interesting experiment to see how good the code is, and then we can go back a year later and look at the code or something and go, okay, let's not do this ever again.
But it would also be interesting to look at how weird the feature requests get. I mean, don't forget we had a public vote that resulted in Boaty McBoatface.
So you can get really good things from public votes.
Yes.
Yeah. And if we then invite the whole of the PHP world to come and vote for stuff, we're going to get some weird stuff. We know some weird people in PHP.
Yeah. I mean, I can see a feature being allow impersonation of other users, and then you can be anybody. Like, very problematic.
Yeah.
I mean, so long as you never attach it to anything of real value.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this is where you would have to keep an eye on what's happening, but only touch it if you absolutely have to intervene. You know, somebody goes, please make a feature that hacks NASA. Let's not do that.
Yeah. Could go a bit wild. Or that I suppose what you could do is then just have a group of people requesting things that have all agreed they're not going to do something stupid like try and hack NASA with it. And just come up with some weird and crazy sort of features that are completely legal, and just see what happens, and see what it churns out. We'll have to revisit. I think that'll be.
I mean, you can have an AI decide whether a feature is acceptable also before people can vote on it.
Ooh.
So if you say
Another
install
layer.
a Bitcoin miner, then it will just say no. Actually, no, that's okay. Let's not do that.
Are we bordering on just giving an AI a computer to live in at this point?
Yeah,
do what you want. We'll see what happens. I'm almost tempted to go and buy a cheap Mac Mini and put it in the corner and just put an AI on it and say, "This is yours. Have fun."
Coming up with some experiments now.
Mm.
I'm just hoping they fail, because if they don't, we're all in trouble.
But wouldn't it be better to know?
No.
I think
ignorance is bliss.
I would rather know that it is capable of taking my job so that I can modify what my job looks like, because my job will very fast become kill the AI.
Or just AI monitor. You just sit there and monitor the AI.
Did you see the joke posts about OpenAI and their button pusher? That is literally what they reported it as. The job was to sit there by the server with your finger on the power button just in case.
That's a good job if you can get it.
I think it was like $50,000 as well, so it wasn't exactly a small amount of money.
Yeah, just do something else whilst you're doing it. Yeah, but AI can't do our jobs. It can help us with our jobs. So, I think it will fail. So as an experiment with a hypothesis, probably not worth running. But as a fun experiment of what would happen, I think that's pretty cool.
I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna find the server that I can put.
Well, I think we'll have to do it, and we'll do a show. Or maybe we'll get Ashley back on and we'll review the code in 6 months' time.
If we're going to do that, we've got to bring Nuno in as well.
Oh yeah, we
can review the code.
Nuno needs to reply to our messages.
Yes, he does.
We've been trying to get him for a while.
I think the review will be, "This is bad. Don't put it in production." So I think we can shortcut that.
So I'm going to save that clip ready for when we do this, and we'll just have Ashley come. This is bad.
No, solved.
Yeah, the review show is just that.
Just this is bad. So on that lovely note, we are coming to time. So Ashley, thank you very much for spending some time with us and chatting AI and some other stuff that we just went off on. But that's what we're about. We're just trying to highlight its cool stuff and talking about what it's like working in PHP, and hopefully encourage some new people over to our lovely ecosystem and our do you say family or do you say community? Community. We'll say community. Family feels a bit too
like that one.
Too strong. Yes, like Discord. I'm getting there. These are my prompts. He puts these up to remind me what I've got to talk about. So yeah, Discord. Head over to Discord. We are all hanging out there all week long. Loads of cool conversations go on there. You'll also get a warning about 30 minutes before any of our podcasts go live by Chris. He is our official reminder person, alarm to remind people. And it's true. He reminds certain people. He tags them. He goes, right, we're going live.
On a
head over there
for the podcast. It is 1 hour and 37 minutes.
or when he remembers to do the reminder. But yeah, head over, come and chat, come and hang out with us. We don't just talk PHP stuff, we talk all sorts of things. There are people from all over the world, around the community. Also, don't forget, head over to our website, phparch.com, to subscribe to the magazine, where you can keep up to date with all cool things within web development and PHP. We've got a code on the screen there, Alive3. Alive is all uppercase and no spaces for anyone listening to the audio version of this. I always forget to remember there's people who might just be listening, not watching. You'll get three free months of the digital version when you sign up for a year subscription. There's some brilliant articles and information there. Helps you keep up to date and learn new things. Don't forget also to head over to our YouTube, like and subscribe and all that goodness. PHP Tech 26 tickets are on sale. Come and see us. That's in Chicago next year in May, towards the end of May. Love to see people over there. And don't forget to head over to and I'm going to share the screen if I can do that quickly. I'm not going to do it quickly, that's ridiculous. It's Swag Store. So that's store.php.com, where you can pick up some t-shirts, some hats, hoodies, and all sorts. My favourite t-shirt, which I still need to order, is this one here, the ink blocked elephant, which was actually the cover of one of our magazines when we talked a lot about mental health within our community. I think that is everything. So just a reminder that although we were doing every fortnight, I'm going to say the word fortnight, I know it confuses some people, but that's every 2 weeks.
It's already been said once in this podcast, so it's fine.
Has it?
Yeah, Ashley said it.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I must have missed that one. Sorry, you must have said. Yeah, okay. Every fortnight, but we are actually now releasing every week because we've got so many of these pre-recorded. We'll have a pre-recorded 1 week and then we'll have a live one the following week. Fingers crossed, as long as we can get people to join us live. But apart from that, thank you again, Ashley, for taking the time out of your day to come and talk to us.
Thank you for having me. It's fun to chat about AI and roughly adjacent things.
Yeah, we should get you back on in sort of maybe 6 to 12 months time. We'll see how Boost is getting on and see how our experiment goes on.
I'm excited about the experiment. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for everyone watching and listening. We will see you